first, I need a drink. Okay. Hey guys, so I'm gonna kind of jump right into the video, but today I want to talk all about your foundation and your skincare and all those things, because that is key to your makeup looking good and natural, is having a good foundation. Duh. I mean, if you think about it, it makes total sense. But forever I was like, oh, I don't wear foundation, blah 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 blah, because I was young and I had nice skin. But as I've aged, I'm a whole 23 years old, you know. But you know, now I have things that I don't like about my face and some pigmentation, so we're also going to work with a little bit of color correcting, just kind of like for beginners and what I know and want to pass on to you. So if that interests you, please continue watching and let's get started. So this is going to be a talk through, so it may go a little long. I'm going to try to keep things kind of fast and fast forward where I can. So we're going to start out today with the e.l.f. Lip Exfoliator, which I have talked about this thing a ton. I absolutely love it. It's great if you suffer with dry lips or anything like that. It's just and mine, I've had mine for about a year now, so like it looks a little grody, but it's just like a lipstick but exfoliant. It's really cool. I'm a big fan of doing lips first so that you can get some chapstick on your lips and get everything moistened up by the time you're done with your makeup and you can put your lipstick on. It's just kind of the normal fashion I do things in. So today I'm using the Nivea A Kiss of Smoothness, and it's just regular old chapstick, but I love this stuff. It's so soft. Okay, so now that we've got our lips softened, I'm going to go ahead and take a clean makeup wipe and just wipe my face off. And even if, you know, I've washed my face, I still go ahead and usually do this just to get any dry skin off, any stray hairs, who knows? Who knows? And then I've topped this thing to death, so I'm just going to go in. You can use any type of lotion. This is the thickest face cream I've ever used, and I was afraid it would give me issues, but what I do is I really just focus it kind of on the dry spots first, and I totally, sometimes I put it on my eyes, but I've actually had better results if I leave this spot open for a primer that's specifically for eyes. So I just kind of moisturize my entire face, especially if you're going to be doing color correcting. You're adding an extra layer to your face, so you want to make sure it's nice and hydrated. Alright, so first of all we're going to talk about primers, and I tried to grab a good selection of high-end, low-end type of primers. Now I only have one actual under-eye primer, and that is e.l.f. And it's just a hydrating under-eye primer. I love it. It's just the consistency of a lotion. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on, and that is $3, guys. So really can't beat $3, and I really like it. It really hydrates the under eyes nicely. Ooh, cheaper options, which is the Ulta Fabulous Face Foundation Primer, which is a good option. I like this because it does have silica in it, so it does do a little bit of pore filling, even though that's not what it's marketed as. And then I've lost the lid for this, but I have the e.l.f. Hydrating Face Primer. Now, I've heard that all of these are like this, but this one specifically is a little too greasy for me. I just needed a little bit of hydration, and this was like too much for me because I get a little oily. So for me personally, this particular e.l.f. primer was not a win. But I have heard other people say some of the other ones are a little less greasy and work a little bit better. This is always an affordable option, again, like $3. Okay, and my two kind of higher end ones, I have the POREfessional by Benefit, which is a pore filler obviously, and I use this one to death, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. And then I have Lorac Porefection, which is obviously also silicone based and a pore filler. Any of these are a fantastic option. So what I am going to do, so you always want to prime your face so that, again, you have a nice smooth surface for your foundation to go on. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Porefessional by Benefit. And a big thing that I've learned recently is you can overuse primer. If you put on too much primer, your foundation is ultimately going to look a little more cakey and not smooth like what you want it to look. So a little goes a long way, and really rub it into the area where you feel like your pores are bad. Alrighty, so we've got that down. Now we're gonna go ahead and start in with the actual color correcting. So let me zoom you in here, nice and close, and stay on frame. Now if you take a look at my face, and it's kind of hard to tell because these lights kind of, I don't know, cover it up a little bit, but I have, let's just go ahead and zoom all the way in. I have some kind of red spots and hyperpigmentation. I've got kind of a red spot over my eyebrow that's been driving me absolutely nuts. I don't know what it is. And of course I've got some under eye circles that we're going to conceal, and I also have kind of a purpley scar down here, and it's really hard to conceal, but we're going to go ahead and try. So let's zoom you back out a little bit here. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is different products that you can use for color correcting. Now I am in no way like the queen of it. I only have a few shades myself that I actually use, and so we're first going to talk about powders. I think if you're a powder girl, this is an excellent option. You do not have to try to go and use, sorry, my windows are open so it's a little bit noisy, but you don't have to try and use, liquid color correctors. You know, if you like to go in with powder foundations, this is a great option. My headband is doing weird things here. So this is the e.l.f. tone correcting powder, and it comes in this nice little packaging. You get a nice big mirror up here, and then it's just 4 powders. And I have talked about this before, but you get a blue, a yellow, a red, and a green. So basically the way that this works is whatever color you're trying to conceal, you want to go and look at a color wheel, and I will insert a picture of the color wheel here now-ish. So basically you look across the color wheel at the color that you're trying to kind of get rid of. So let's say I'm getting rid of purple, you look across the color wheel, you can use red, orange, salmon, depending on the shade that you're using. That's kind of how this goes, and this is nice because you just get these 4 colors that you can kind of work with, and the blue is a little less harsh than like if you wanted to use like a violet. So this is great. This is where I started, and this works. You know, it is a little bit powdery, but it's $3 and it really does cover up. You just use a little bit more than you would obviously a higher end probably. Moving right along, because I feel like this video is going to be like 3 hours long. I also have the NYX HD concealer, and I have this in the kind of mint green color, like so. This is for redness. The biggest issues that I have is kind of my under eye blue purpley area, and then red hyperpigmentation. So the green I use a lot, as well as a salmon color, and this is number 1 Fair in Erase Paste by Benefit. Said that a little bit backwards. And this is really nice, and it is a salmon color, as you can kind of see. Then of course you've got your concealers and your highlighters. Now I'm not talking sparkly highlighters, this is all just color correcting and foundation today. So what I use most commonly is the Rimmel Match Perfection in Fair, which you see all the time, and then my Urban Decay Naked Skin in Neutral Light, Neutral Fair. These are what I use. I'm sure you know how to use this. This is if I'm going for kind of a more natural look. It's not quite as stark. So let's get right into the color correcting. I'm going to zoom you guys back in, and we are going to just go ahead and start kind of fixing some areas on my face. So we're going to go in with the green first. Green takes away redness. So now that we're looking really attractive, we're going to take a dampened beauty blender and go ahead and blend that out. And it's really important, especially with this particular color corrector that I'm using, the HD one, it's really important that you blend this out really well because it is thicker. Okay, so I look a little bit crazy right now, but we'll get there. So now I'm going to go in with the salmon color underneath my eyes and to kind of cover up this purpley colored scar. And I'm going to take a different dampened beauty blender so I'm not mixing the green in, and just very carefully pat that out. Okay, now that we're looking all kinds of crazy, we are going to go ahead and go in now with our foundation of choice. And I was trying to keep things kind of budget friendly, as well as I use a few high-end products that I just really like. But I am going to go in with the e.l.f. Tinted Moisturizer because I love this stuff. Even though it's just a tinted moisturizer, I think it's really buildable and I really like the way that it sets on my skin. And I'm using it in their lightest one, which I think is Ivory. Yeah, Ivory. So I really like this stuff, and again, I'm pretty sure it's like $3 to $5 right in there. So basically when you're doing this, when you put the foundation on, you really want to focus on patting it in rather than like with a brush, like pulling it out or anything like that. Just because this layer, you don't want to like take away the stuff that you've just worked so hard to put down. So I'm going to go in with my beauty blender and pat this on. This is just, and I know it's a little bit shiny in these lights, but in person it doesn't look this shiny. It's just a nice satiny finish. But that's just one layer of coverage, and you already can't see any of the green through. And then on my cheeks, I'm just going to put on another small layer, just because that's kind of my trouble areas personally, around my nose. Okay, so the foundation's on, so now we just need to do our eyeballs. So today I'm using the Urban Decay Naked Skin in Fair Neutral, which we already talked about, obviously. And with this, you can get too much on very quickly. So what I like to do is actually take the applicator out, and let's see, how can we do this? And actually get the product on my hand. I'm not doing a very good job of showing you guys this, but I'm sure you get what I'm going for here, because I find if I use a brush separately like this, I don't use quite as much, which is better. And again, with my dampened beauty blender, pat that in. You always want to make sure that you don't just highlight under your eyes. You want to even it out, so I'm going to put just a little bit on my chin, tip of my nose, down the middle of my nose, and of course on my forehead, as well as my Cupid's bow. And then I'm going to use what's left and just pat it underneath the eyes one more time. Make that really stand out and look nice. Alright, so we're looking pretty good. As you can see, all the color corrector. Now obviously, if I was getting ready to actually do a full face of makeup, I would cover up my eyes, but I'm going to be filming a separate video after this. So I decided to skip that option a little bit. But I am going to go in with my powder, and I'm going to do something I don't normally do and use the same powder for my face as I do for my under eyes. So I'm going to go in with the Bare Minerals Original Mineral Veil, and it's just a translucent loose powder, and I'm going to take that same dampened sponge and go right underneath my eyes. So I'm taking my sponge and just dipping it in that loose powder and then right underneath my eyes. And this will ensure that you do not have eye creasage. Alright, and then I'm going to take a kabuki brush and go ahead and buff that same powder all over my face. And then I'm going to just kind of sweep underneath my eyes and get rid of any excess. Alright, and that is it, guys. And I know I look a little bit funny because I don't have my eyebrows on, or my eyeballs, or bronzer, but I just wanted to give you the quickest video possible. Although I know this one's going to be a little bit long because I talk. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about color correcting and foundation, because obviously that is the start of the makeup pyramid. You gotta have a good foundation so that everything else lays nicely. So I love you guys. I hope this has been helpful, and please remember to leave me a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new to our channel. Hello, I love you all, and I will see you soon.